We've got to put teams away. That is our big problem. We possession means nothing. It's what you do with the ball that counts. So you get, okay, look at those stats. 80% possession in the first half. Wow. Possession, it doesn't say, when this read the score as Birmingham City, 80% possession, Northampton, 20%. What all that matters is that score at the end. It's how you convert that into goals, and we're not doing enough. Yeah, we're playing fantastic football. It's really pretty, it's nice to watch. But I guarantee you that you ask any Blues fan, you'd sacrifice a little bit of that for more goals and more wins. Of course you would. Yeah, so fine. Yeah, we can't criticise that, but we need to convert that into a more clinical edge.
So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. And in this video, we're going to be discussing the incredibly frustrating draw at the weekend. Birmingham City 1, Northampton 1. But before we do that, I just want to give a shout out to everyone who wished me well. I've been poorly for the past couple of days, and Dad put out an X and a YouTube post just to say that I was a little bit poorly, and those well wishes were really, really nice and kind. So thank you very much for that. But as I said, a very frustrating game at the weekend, Dad. Birmingham City 1, Northampton 1. It's a bit of a leading quote, but I just want to start with something that Chris Davies said in his post-match interview, Dad. And it said, "Feels like 2 points lost, more of a loss than a draw."
Yeah, firstly, welcome back. It's nice to see you well again. And, we weren't sure whether this would take place a few days ago. So it's just great that you're back.
Thank you.
That's how I felt. I'm sure all Blues fans, when we came out of that game, with literally 1 minute to go in a game where they had a few chances, but very few chances, and we couldn't see the game out. And it did feel like that. I saw that interview with Chris Davies as well. It did actually feel like a loss, and actually going home felt like a loss. And even waking up this morning, still frustrated. It does this to your football, doesn't it? As a Blues fan, and any football fan. But the frustrating thing for me was the way we conceded that goal. And I know that we normally go through the sort of the chronological order of the game, but for me, there was a lot of problems or things that I saw that were wrong with that. So in terms of, firstly, our not being able to defend what was always going to be a hoof football. It was the last kick of the game.
Yeah. Hail Mary, classic League One, weren't it?
I think John Brady, their manager, referred to it as a final Hail Mary. Yeah. And, I've seen a lot of criticism for Dean Sanderson, and I'm not for scapegoating players. I'm not. We are a team, and he could have done better, no doubt. But the ball was pinged up, it hit off his leg, and people say if he was standing in the right position and he wasn't running backwards, he would have been able to head it away.
Let it go. Or Sop would have picked it up.
Yeah, or be in the right position in the first place and head it. So he didn't, cover himself in glory. But also as well, we had the chance on the second ball. It went to Iwata, and I think a lot of people not sort of don't want to criticise Iwata because of what he's done so far this season. But, we have to call it out. If a player makes a mistake, and Iwata passed that ball directly to Pinnock, who literally had a free shot on goal. So, and Iwata could have put his foot through the ball and hoofed it out. And I think, I've been thinking about this, I think that is symptomatic of, Chris Davies calls it, this is the identity we play. We always play to keep the ball. And I think Iwata was doing that. Instead of actually thinking, we've got 1 minute to go, I'm going to hoof the ball out, he's trying to play a release ball where he thinks a Blues player is going to be. But of course there isn't one, and their player just comes in and runs it. So disappointing. And it is literally throwing 2 points away. That's what's happened.
If you look at that goal, you could almost play the Benny Hill soundtrack. Sanderson's out of position, he plays it. Clara sort of gets fouled / falls over. Iwata, as you say, plays it into them. Samsted's a mile away from his man. It's almost like a comedy build-up of 3 or 4 errors. And really, really basic. Long ball, League One style, Hail Mary. Gutted, absolutely gutted to not lose the game, to draw the game in that way. But it feels like a loss, don't it? And, unacceptable. And you could tell, couldn't you, Dad, for the first time, in my opinion, when you watched Chris Davies' post-match interview, he was fuming and deflated. And you could see that got to him. Because he's normally quite cool, calm and calculated. And he was, really. He didn't let much slip. But you could tell by his body expressions, he was almost getting a little bit restless with the questions in terms of just, you could tell he was agitated, I think, that sorry, I said it again, we drew the game in that manner.
It does feel like we lost. When you talk about it, you just feel like we lost. In fact, when you looked at John Brady's interview as Northampton manager, he kept referring to winning the game. He did correct himself because that's the way it felt, didn't it? But to me, what was, okay, that happened with the goal. But if we'd have put our chances away, we would have never been in that position. So this is the problem we got. And, thinking about some of the comments that I've made in terms of what I felt about the game, I could almost carbon copy what happened at Mansfield and put it into this in terms of loads of chances, loads of possession, not putting the ball away, having a slender lead and the other team just getting encouraged and coming on to us. That's exactly what happened at Mansfield, exactly what's happened at Northampton.
And Sutton.
Yes.
Fair enough, we got away with the win at Sutton, but, Mansfield, Reading, Wigan, Sutton.
Sutton had a chance at the end. They should have scored.
There's a pattern here of us not putting teams away, isn't there? And we spoke about this on the podcast last season. Our theme was like that lack of determination, the fight, the grit. This year, it's that clinical edge, it's that killer instinct. It's been able to finish teams off. It's just not there. And we can go through the games in chronological order now, but our front four is just not connected. And it comes back down, and we're going to sound like a broken record, Dad. Apologies, Blues fans. Put Williamson in that number 10, please.
Yeah.
Put Alfie May in the number 9 and put Stansfield out left or right.
It
has to happen.
I think all Blues fans, I saw a lot on social media, but I was at the game. Obviously, a lot of people watched it on TV. It's so clear to me that Alfie May is completely not out of his depth. That's not fair because he's a good player. He's just inefficient.
Shoehorned. It's shoehorned in.
He's inefficient. And if you put him at number 9, that's where he's got all his goals when he won the Golden Boot last year. And I've got no idea why he's not put at number 9, because we know that Stansfield can play out wide.
I tell you what, Dave, Alfie May, and he's a busy bee. I don't know how you feel. I don't know if you think this is fair or not. I feel like he's getting in everyone's way because he doesn't know. Again, that sounds bad. He doesn't doesn't know his role, but he's not a number 10. He's not used to being a number 10.
Yeah.
And it's like he's getting. There's a disconnect. The connection isn't happening, and our front four just looks so disconnected. I mean, I don't want to blow this out of proportion. This isn't like a tragic. We're still good going forward. We do still create chances, but we could be so much more effective, in my opinion.
We've got the pieces in the wrong place.
And the key to me of all of this is Williamson in the 10. That's the absolute key. He's so much better as a number 10.
Yeah.
Alfie May in the 9. And whether he wants to play Stansfield or not on the wide, that's up to Chris David. If not, in my opinion, Stansfield goes on the bench temporarily while we build this thing moving forward. Alfie May in the number 9 every day for me. Williamson in the number 10. And I think Stansfield is way better when he has that link-up play, when he does play at the left or right side of the midfield.
I agree, because you play Stansfield at the number 9. You look at the goals he's scoring this season compared to last season. I mean, fair enough, a goal's a goal. It's brilliant. It doesn't matter. If it goes in the net, that's brilliant. But last season, when he was playing slightly deeper, particularly under Eustace, he'd be running through. He hasn't got the space to do that in number 9. So okay, we might play a high line, but if you put him out wide, he's got something to run into. You ping a ball behind him, and he can actually run onto it. In the number 9, you're the target man, so you've got to be in those positions. If the ball does come in the box, you've got to be in there. Yeah, and he scored quite a few goals. He scored 7 goals so far this season. 2 in the last one game against the Fulham under-21s. Scored again this goal against Northampton. But I think you're right. I think you put him wide. Give him space in front of him. He's much more packed because he's fast.
Yeah,
he's really
quick.
Fast.
Yeah, he's really quick, and he's got a rocket on him. And I tell you what, though, I keep reflecting on the early start of the season, and I think we were still clicking at the time, so things weren't perfect. I completely get that, and I appreciate that. But I feel like we were a lot more fluid, and people knew their place and knew their instructions before Stansfield joined and Alfie May in the 9. And by the way, I love Stansfield. He needs to be part of the team. He needs to be part of the squad 100%. All I'm making a point of saying is I think we look far more effective with Williamson in the 10, Alfie May in the 9, and then everything else falls into place, in my opinion, around that. And someone commented that a few weeks back. They said Williamson in the 10, May in the 9, and then the other wingers fall into place around them because they're the key structure in that attacking force. And I agree.
I think there could be part of it as well. He spent so much on him. We need to make sure that he's in the team, but I think he's been put in the wrong position, and I'm sure some people watching this podcast will think, how can you put Stansfield on the bench? Well, it's about the efficiency of the team that's important, and no one's saying that Stansfield is not a fantastic player and a fantastic goal scorer, but you've got to play Alfie May at number 9. Mm-hmm. You have to play it to make him effective and to get loads of goals. He has to be at number 9. We've seen the only one game I can think of where he was brilliant at number 9 was against Wrexham.
Yeah.
I thought he did really well. Sorry,
Number
number
10, yeah.
I thought he was
Agreed.
really good in that game at number 10, but it hasn't worked since then. I think it's an experiment now that Chris Davis has to see that's not. It's almost like you've got all of these wonderful components, but you need to get the right combination, and it's not clicked quite yet. We've obviously the goals have tailed off. We've only scored apart from the Fulham under-21s game, we've only scored ones. In Sutton, Mansfield, and now Northampton.
Yeah. Let's not blow this out of proportion, everyone, by the way. We got a draw against Northampton. Fair enough. We should be beating Northampton. We should be beating these teams. They're in 18th. They were poor. Route 1, football. We have to respect our opponents. We always say that. We know that, Dad. And we should be putting these teams up. But if we've got a game in hand and we win and we still go top, come on, let's just put a little bit of perspective in here. And I know sometimes we get a little bit criticised, Dad, about, paying teams off a little bit too much respect and maybe being a bit too much happy clappy, and that's fine.
Point I'll make on that one, which I think I think it's worth doing right now, is that we obviously have spent lots and lots of money, and we get this pointed at us by fans, managers, and everybody all over the country. We spent millions. We have. That's a fact, right? So we've got good players, good technical players. We've got a great manager, and we've got everything seems to be going well in that respect, but. Everybody thinks because of that we should be just rolling teams over. But the thing is, you get teams that come to us with ambition, with commitment, with hard work, and also they're motivated and desired to come and beat us because of who we are. That balances up all the abilities. So what I'm saying is you could have the most technically brilliant ability players in the whole wide world, and we've seen this time and time again where bigger teams have got beaten by small, not just in our division. I'm talking about Premier League clubs in every single league, because the other team have got more heart, desire, and they come to. John Brady admitted in his post-match club they come to frustrate. They can't, and they did. They were trying to waste time from right in the first half. Their players going down left, right, and centre to start. There were 2 genuine injuries, so I'm not criticising it all completely, but the tactics that the teams will use means that we have to, if we have got all this players with all this value and all this money, all this technical ability, we've got to go beyond that and say, well, actually, these can stop us if they do what Northampton did, and Charlton, and other teams,
and Mansfield,
and all they just come and stop us, and we've got to find ways through that.
And we base our play off fluidity and speed and having the ball and moving at teams and going at teams. And fair enough, we're not having that clinical edge at the moment, but we are going at teams and we are having a lot of the ball. When teams are kicking it out and going down for injuries, it slows the play down. I tell you what, Dad, half of Chris Davis's job at the minute is just barking at the fourth official, about the injuries, about the time wasting, about this. And I think the refs do need to get hotter on it. The goalkeepers are an absolute joke about the way they take their goal kicks, the way suddenly when a team has something to hold on to, the injuries start coming out. It's just like, come on.
It made me laugh. Their goalkeeper was trying to waste time all the way through the game, but taking time in goal kicks. And he booked Allsop, our goalkeeper, when he did it. Can you believe that? But I can't really sort of agree any more than that, really. But we're not going to change referees. The referees are what they are. We were warned that the level of refereeing in this division is poor. We've seen that time and time again. Yeah. But that's something like us and every team in our division have to cope with. Yeah. Northampton were poor. They, in my opinion, they didn't deserve a point. And again, I mean this I know this is going to sound disrespectful, but I don't mean to sound disrespectful. They're probably the worst team I think we've played this season in terms of footballing. But they kept in the game, and fair play to them for this. They hung in, and they only need that one chance, and that's what happened.
Well, they should have scored in the first half as well, about 17 minutes in. Again, we can go through the game now a bit more specifically, Dad. But before we do, I just want to make one more point. And I can't believe how many fans are almost like still surprised. League One, their style of football is to park the bus. It's to put 11 men behind the ball. How many games in now are we in? 13? 12, 13? Yeah. 11 teams out of 13 have just parked the bus and almost, allowed us to come on. And it's how we break them down. And for me, I want to see a bit more bravery in the final third. I want to see a bit more clinical edge. I want to see more bodies in the box. We don't get enough bodies in the box for me.
I'd like to see us scoring earlier goals as well. Yeah. Because the longer the game goes on, the more the team will do this. They'll start falling down. They'll start wasting time. They start to get, hang on, we might have got a bit of a chance here. We've got to put teams away. That is our big problem. We possession means nothing. It's what you do with the ball that counts. So you can, look at those stats. 80% possession in the first half. Wow. Possession, it doesn't say, when they read the score as Birmingham City, 80% possession, Northampton, 20%. What all that matters is that score at the end. It's how you convert that into goals, and we're not doing enough. Yeah, we're playing fantastic football. It's really pretty, it's nice to watch. But I guarantee you that you ask any Blues fan, you'd sacrifice a little bit of that for more goals and more wins. Of course you would. Yeah, so fine. Yeah, we can't criticise that, but we need to convert that into a more clinical edge. And if that means sometimes we've got to be scrappy. And I also think as well, we've got to manage games. Sorry, I'm on a bit of a rant here.
No,
We've got to manage.
enjoying it.
We've got to manage games out as well,
Yeah.
because it's all right saying Chris Davison. He's always said this in previous post-match conferences that we maintain our identity throughout the game. But when you're 1-0 up with 2 minutes to go, forget the identity. That ball comes in your box, you just hoof it out.
Oh, yeah.
Don't try and pass it, which I think is what Iwata tried to do. Just get rid of it. Just get it out. So there's going to be times when we've got to be cleverer to manage games out. So rather than try and play football with minute or 2 minutes to go, we just literally resort just to clearing it, and then we just readjust our lines. Because that to me is, like I say, for me, it's 2 points lost.
Yeah, I completely agree. Brilliant rant. I think it's the most best rant you've had on the podcast so far. I don't know the first 9 months you've had, but again, I can't really add to what I think you've hit the nail on the head, Dad. And I would much rather sacrifice a little bit of possession to go at teams a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because how many times do we see teams on 24% possessions, 30%? Lincoln, classic example. Birmingham under Eustace, classic example. Low possession, but still capable of winning games.
Well, Northampton 20% and got a goal.
100%. And by the way, I think it's another point in saying, Dad, we're not saying here that we need to change our identity and we need to change our style of football. Chris Davis is onto something. He's a brilliant manager.
Yeah.
I believe in him.
Agree. Yeah.
And I'm still ecstatic with this season. I really am. I love this club. I love where we're going. What we're seeing, we've never seen before. We just need to start scoring more goals.
Yeah.
And if that means that we have to figure out different ways to break teams down and go at teams, so be it. And, we've beaten so many teams this year by such a small margin when we should have won by 4, 5 or 6. And, the chickens are coming home to roost a little bit now, aren't they? Just getting past Sutton by 1-1 draw with Mansfield, 1-1 draw with Northampton. If we don't start being a bit more clinical, I could see this popping up a little bit more as the season goes on. We need to start putting teams away.
I do as well. We've got to be more ruthless. But let's just talk about some of the key moments in the game.
Yeah.
I thought the first half from Blues was, again, in complete control. But having said that, we had lots of possession and again played lots of really, really good football, but they actually had the better chances. I thought their chance where the chap went through and also made a fantastic save. I thought he was offside, but I mean, but obviously I sit at the top of the Tilton, and obviously I'm facing it, but he looked a mile offside to me. We were actually complaining that the linesman had broke his arm, but I don't know. But anyway, whatever happened, that was a really clear-cut chance, and then Allsop saved it. So that should have been 1-0 to them anyway. Yeah. That's the thing, Matt. Out of all that possession, they had the best chance.
It's bizarre, isn't it? And this is what happens when you kind of have lapses in concentration. I think a word that gets bandied around social media defensively for Blues is a bit of a complacency, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're so used to being on the ball, then when teams go a bit more direct, we can sometimes just get that a little bit complacent.
Yeah.
And I think as well, that chance came from Laird being so high up.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to admit it, Dad, Laird isn't really a right back. He's a right winger.
Yeah.
He's so high up the pitch. And we can come on to Laird in a minute because, again, we can talk about his delivery and his final ball because it is poor, isn't it? He needs to start putting these balls onto heads and being a little bit more clinical in his delivery, but he was so far up the pitch, it kind of created a bit of a gap in behind. And they could have easily scored that. Could have been 1-0 Northampton at half time, couldn't it?
It could have been. And when you think about the way we played in terms of the possession, it would appear that we had control of the game. But as we mentioned, it just emphasised the point we made a little bit earlier. The possession doesn't matter. In fact, actually, if you look at the game overall, both Northampton and us both had 3 shots on target. Yet they had 20% possession. And we had 80%, but we both had the same amount of shots on target. Obviously, off target, we had a lot more, and shots blocked, we had a lot more, but they don't make any difference. It's on target that really, really count. So it shows you that the first half, and at the very end, I think we had a chance with Alfie May and Williamson at the very, very end. He spun and he knocked it into the top of the Gilmerick, I think. Really. And then I felt quite disappointed after the first half in terms of the lack of clear-cut chance we created.
I was trying to mention one, Dad. I made a note of it. On 40 minutes as well, Alfie May gave the ball away really unnecessarily, and they got a corner. And again, it was just another example as when you drop your concentration levels or you allow a sloppy mistake, it could have been another goal. I mean, it wasn't like a clear-cut chance, but it was just, we are a little bit fragile from set pieces still, aren't we? I don't feel confident whenever I'm going to say League One teams for a very specific reason because I genuinely think there's something in the water down at this level. They are fantastic League One teams that convert in set pieces. Corners, they're dangerous. Free kicks, they're dangerous. Long throw-ins, they're dangerous. Deep free kicks into the box, they're dangerous. And whenever we get a corner, I don't know how you feel or the Blues fans feel, I feel really nervous. When we're defending a corner. And that was another thing going into the half-time whistle with a bit of a disappointment there. But overall, a little bit underwhelming, wasn't it, first half?
It
but
was,
much
yeah.
better second half.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you want to kick it off for the second half,
Yeah,
there,
I
much
mean,
better.
we came out with a lot more intent, I suppose you
Yeah.
could say, you know, a lot more purpose, a lot faster, and created a number of chances. You know, we should have taken the lead in about 8 minutes into the second half. Christopher Clara was on the end of Alfie May's cross, and that was, you know, only just,
I think Williamson put him off, or maybe they kind of got
going each other's way.
They crossed paths a little bit, didn't
He
they?
puts that either side of the goalkeeper. I think even Clara could see his reaction to that. He knew he should have scored with that as well. Then Williamson climbed inside the box and put a header just over the crossbar. It was literally about that far over. It was really, really close. And then eventually we did get the breakthrough, and you know, it was a good goal actually. You know, it was Alex Cochrane.
Yep. Fantastic again on the left-hand side.
Great delivery again. And again, Williamson with another assist.
Yeah.
You know, so rather than be tempted to try and header it, he actually just dinked it back straight to Stansfield, knocked it into the roof.
Just about hit the bar.
Yeah.
Because I thought it hit the roof of the net when I watched it, but then when I watched the replay, it pings off the top part of the bar. I thought, close. I mean, goal's a goal. And as you say, I was really impressed at it because it was Paik who started the build-up play in the middle, passed it out wide to Cochrane. Beautiful ball. And his delivery is getting better and better as the season goes, isn't it? I think he's an outstanding player.
Yeah.
Really intelligent from Williamson again, and Stansfield on a plate. Really, you know, beautiful. I thought it was a really good team goal.
Yeah, I thought strangely, I thought Cochrane had a really poor start to the game. In the first 15, 20 minutes, he gave the ball away quite a few times, and but he's a quality player. And over the course of the game, you know, I actually love Alex Cochrane. I think he's brilliant. But yeah, he did give the ball away a few times, but nothing actually came about that.
To be fair, again, we love Alex Cochrane. He's a fantastic player. He does have moments in games where he can give the ball away quite sloppily, don't he? But you know, we can forgive it. It's like
he's absolutely brilliant, and you know, he obviously had a big part to play in that goal. But then they had a chance. You know, we're still 1-0 up, and you know, there's always this vulnerability at 1-0 up, and they had a chance with about 15 minutes to go when the ball went down the right. Yokoyama didn't track his man. I think he's a player called Will Hunkermark. He was saved. Oh no, he went past Alsop, but Bielek came in and slid in and saved. What a great block that was, because that would have equalised.
Yep.
We could have lost this game when you think about it. With the chances they had, I mean, we could have put some of ours.
We could have won it as well, though.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I'm just
as a balanced argument.
Yes, as a balanced argument, it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
So that could have been 1-1, but thankfully Bielek had slid in with a fantastic block. You know, fair play to him for that as well. And then the moments of madness that we've spoken about already. You know, the referee adds on 7 minutes, which I think was fair actually because of the amount of wasting time that Northampton did at the beginning of that half.
Sorry, Dad, jumping, because I know you're going to describe. Well, we have described the goal, so we won't go through it where we have time. We won't go through it all again. Do you think Clara was fouled?
I think when a ball comes into the box like that, you know that their goalkeeper's got it. He's obviously going to ping it into the box, right? And there's just a crowd and a melee of players, and that happens in every game. In every league, you know, there's going to be jostling. I don't think he was fouled, to be honest.
But we know how strong Clara is.
Yeah,
he doesn't get pushed over willy-nilly.
But I think you know, you would argue that players are entitled to do that, because we'd go mad if we scored a goal and then we're penalised for it.
I've asked you that question. I don't actually know the answer. I've watched it back about 15 times, and I look at it and I go, I've seen them given and I've seen them not.
Which tells you it's probably right that it wasn't given.
It's 50-50.
Yeah, because the referee's got to be pretty certain that it was a foul. I don't think it was. I'm all for the physical side of the game, if I'm honest. I think the referees that blow up too easily ruin the game.
I think it was a shove, but it wasn't a shove enough to be a foul, and he's kind of lost his footing in the moment as well. So it was a bit of a push, bit of a slip.
He ain't going to give that. I just felt, you know, with the goal, their goalkeeper, clearly last kick of the game, he's probably, the clock's on the big screen now. You can see I got, you know, in the last minute, pings it up. You know, they put their big players up. We should have dealt with, like you said, if Sanders had let that ball go, it goes into Allsop's hands.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. And actually, there was something that was said by Ethan Laird in his post-match interview. He said something about floodlights. So there's obviously conversations gone on in the changing room where I'm suspecting Dion might have been saying, I don't know this for sure, by the way, I'm just reading between the lines. Dion might say, oh, I got blinded by the floodlights.
Oh, come on.
Well, I don't know.
I know, but he's been playing at St.Andrews for the past last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
What, one night on one chance where he messes up, he says the floodlight was blinding his
I don't
eyes.
even know if he said that, Matt. I'm just reading,
I know.
but somebody said something about floodlights because Ethan Laird mentioned his
Right,
post.
that's what they're going to do, play in the dark.
Or give them all sunglasses or something like that. But
anyway, yeah.
so the ball comes over and it sort of hits off the shin at the back. But I think Sanderson is in the wrong position. So if you got the ball playing, he should be like facing it. And if he stands up straight and heads the ball, it goes out, it goes clearer, doesn't it? But anyway, and then he goes to Iwata, who's probably surprised he's even got it because he's expecting the defender to clear it. And I think again, I don't know what's in his mind, but I think he's tried to play an out pass where he thinks one of our players like Samstead will be there.
Maybe.
And he just runs straight in a perfect position for Pinnock just to run onto it and leather it. It was just a comedy of errors, like you said. Well, I love the way you described that. You could have played that Benny Hill.
You could,
and it was literally a comedy of errors. And then and the choker was, we had no time to come back into it, and it was 1-1. We literally, I keep mentioning this, he's literally 2 points down the toilet. Yeah. That's what it is.
Did you see also as well? I just want to highlight because we didn't mention it earlier in the video, Dad, and then we will wrap it up wherever you have time. Paik was fuming, Clara fuming, Cochrane fuming, Stansfield fuming. All of them were so angry. And again, I'm not scapegoating. I'm really not. Sanderson almost just strolling back, sort of looking around a little bit. Again, just body language.
Yeah.
Everything about it was just so frustrating. And, let's not dwindle on it anymore. 2 points down the drain for sure. At the end of the day, it reads, 80% possession to Blues, 20 to Northampton. But it reads 1-1. They go away with a point. We go away disappointed. But let's not blow out proportion, Dad. We've got a game in hand. If we win that, we still go top. I mean, fair play to Wickham. They're having an amazing season. But we still go top. And, we are still a fantastic football club and we're playing brilliant football. We just need to be a lot more clinical.
Yeah, so my last point for you, close, is that I just felt in the first half the tempo was too slow. I just think that we need to ping the ball around quicker in order to break down teams. We almost adjusted to their pace, which is completely the wrong thing to do. And if you go to their pace, they're almost controlling the game, or have they have us where they want us. We need to be faster, more clinical on the tempo in the first half, I believe. And also as well, I think all the points we've raised about us dominating the game, it's got to be a lesson learned for us. This age, we have to realise that it's okay playing like your Hollywood games like Wrexham and the teams at the top of the league, but these are the minefield games. These are
your bread and butter,
because you're expected to beat these teams, and we should have beaten Northfield not by 1 goal. We should have beaten them by more goals in terms of the chances that we didn't put away, and we allowed them too many easy chances. So overall, megally disappointed. I'm so frustrated that we didn't get to 3 points from that game. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Oh, one final thing we can't not mention as well, the disrespectful nature of some of the Northampton fans for the minute silence for Remembrance Sunday. That was disgraceful. And I know that some Northampton fans have tweeted and messages are sorry that these fans do not reflect us. So we know it's only a handful of Northampton.
A few clowns.
It's just a few idiots that don't respect the sacrifice that these men and women made for us. That we may not have even been here today if they hadn't done that. And to do that is an absolute disgrace. So if you are one of those clowns in the Northampton end that completely disrespected the minute silence, you should be absolutely ashamed of yourselves. I just wanted to say that was disgraceful.
It was disgraceful, but I think it's worth mentioning, Dad, let's not paint every single person with the same brush. It was just a small number.
We know.
And a lot of Northampton fans have come out and apologised. But it was disgraceful. I agree. Clowns, idiots, fools, and you completely disrespected this country's history and what people sacrificed for the freedoms we have today.
Yeah.
And let's end it there because we could end up probably going on about this for quite some time. Yeah. So, as always, Blues fans, we'd love to hear from you. I'm sure you'll agree with a lot of the points made. Really frustrating performance once again. Not quite good enough in the final third. We really need to be putting teams away. But as always, we would love to hear from you. So please let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And maybe you're a Northampton fan and you've stumbled across this video as well. Please let us know your thoughts on the game. And if you like this video specifically, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And please check us out on our social media channels. We have an X page, we have an Instagram page, and we're also on Spotify as well. So please feel free to check us out over there and follow us on that page as well. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss any future content. And don't forget to press that bell notification as well so you get notified every time we post a video. We do post at very consistent times throughout the week. And myself and Dad will see you on the next video all about Birmingham City.